Hey folks, welcome back. We got the 79 Lincoln Continental in here again. We're doing a lot of stuff to it. There's been a lot of video uploads and everything like that as far as servicing and doing maintenance work and everything like that. Today we're going to be doing the right front window motor and regulator sort of repair. Let me first show you the repair, because we did the repair in the video prior to this one, on the left front door, and made the vent window and all that stuff work a lot smoother. Okay, let me show you this window here as it operates. So it's that little bit of right at the end there. I don't like that, but I'm not going to worry about it right now. What I do really like is when the vent window gets down, it's nice and smooth. I never used to could roll this window down this way. I'd have to get it and I'd stop it right about there and I'd bump it until, because it's doing what this window, this driver window right here did exactly what this window is doing now, that we're going to be fixing in this video. So listen. That big clunk. Right there, yeah. That's what I was avoiding, and you know, when I was stopping it like this and just bumping it, still makes the clunking sound, but I felt it was easier on the window, all the mechanisms and stuff in there, because I just thought something was going to break. And we did a repair on this door. You know, check out that video too. That video is going to deal more with in depth of how to get the motor out, because we did replace the torque pins and all that stuff that needed to be done. That actually helped the window. Just the torque pins alone made this window a lot smoother operating. And then the other repair that I did, which, you know, wasn't a perfect, you know, it was just an idea, but it was anyhow. Well, this video for this door, you know, we're not going to really focus anything on getting the motor out and all that kind of stuff. So it's all going to be the same as doing this door. And I've got videos for both, you know, doing the rear window motor and also doing the removing the door panel. And then I've got videos both, obviously, with taking the motor out, you know, because if you've got just a problem with your torque pins or whatnot, you know, just watch the video learning how to take, because I got a video showing how to take this, remove this door panel. And then the last video we just did showed how to remove the motor out. You know, you got to drill holes to get access to the bolts and everything like that, which I assume we're going to have to do here with this one. But this one's going to be a little bit more in depth of how I made the repair to make the vent window work this smooth. That's nice. So anyhow, yeah. So keep watching. We're going to get all this tore apart, get that motor out of there, get the torque pins replaced and all that stuff, and then I'm going to decide. Now this repair, I may do it exactly the way I just did the driver window when I uploaded that video yesterday, or it was the day before, I can't remember. Or I might actually investigate maybe some other or better ways to fix it. I don't know. But you know, check that video out. We use a piece of plexiglass to, you know, keep the gear and all that stuff from moving so much. That was what I found was making the whole clunky noise. Was I right about it? I don't know. It's working on this driver's side without too much flaw, so I think we did okay. Is it perfect? No. I don't know what to actually fix to keep that gear from doing what it was doing. I don't know that much about these things. You know, it would be nice to find someone who was a Ford tech in the 80s and 90s that probably did work on a lot of these, you know. But then again, maybe these systems really worked great. Theirs wasn't, you know. I mean, these things, these triangle windows and all that stuff have always worked pretty decent on this car, other than that big clunking sound and whatnot. So anyhow, let's get this tore apart over here and see which way we're gonna go with it. Alrighty, well, this one's a virgin too. Got the dimples right here. Got one there, and one right there. So we got to drill those out. Now on the other door, we had to notch this up into here because this one just didn't quite line up. Get the nut out, but it was going to be a bear, so I just notched it up out of there. One thing I didn't mention on the other video because I didn't know, well, I mentioned it in the white text that go across here sometimes when I forget to say things. I'm going back through the video. Was to when I got all three of the bolts out of there, the motor didn't want to come off because it was all the way up and had pressure on a deal like that. So just turn your key on and oops, that's the, oh, you know what? Sitting here trying to do the, you know, bump the window down. Just bump it. Just bump it. Bump it down. Get a little bit of that pressure off of it. This one actually is going to have the same freaking thing. I know the torque pins are all going to be gone, and it's going to have some play in the gear. I'll show you that when I get the motor out. Anyhow, keep on going. And actually, to be quite honest, you can drill the hole right there because that's going to get you in right there. So we can get to these are 5/16 headed nuts, just like we showed before, you know, but this is pretty much a direct straight shot, whereas this hole wouldn't be. Yeah, you could get it with this nut driver, but starting it would be harder to do. Might need a magnet to get it out. And if you lose it in the door, they usually don't go very far. I guess that one's not out yet. There we go. Just a little screw. Then we got these ones here are exactly straight shot. You can kind of see the head of the bolt right there. Let's see, get a little bit of light on the subject there. Got that one there and that one there. No, I couldn't have done it that good the first time when I did that other video. I couldn't get a shot of it. Anyways, all right, get those other two out and pull this motor out. Okay, so yeah, with that window, you know, bumping the deal made this thing fall right out, because before I thought there was something else holding it after I got the three screws out, and then I thought it was this, but it turns out it's not. This just rests down on the bottom there. I don't, some kind of a support deal or something or other. But anyways, you can see how this, you know, it gets tight here and here. That's why the window is still allowed to work. But this is the same exact thing as the driver window. The passenger or the driver's side rear was so bad that this gear wouldn't, you know, the motor would just sit there and turn. Nothing would happen. The window would try to move a little bit. But anyway, so now if you've already seen all of this from the other videos, you can try to skip through it. I'm just going to try to do my best to make this even better than I have done before. I could do worse. I don't know. But we'll have to see. But I already know we've got torque pins going bad in here, so that's what we're going to do first. And this off. Oh, why isn't my screwdriver here? Sometimes you got to get in here. I'm just going to pry these really carefully out. Oh yeah, see, here's all the plastic pieces there. Oops, I'm kind of standing right in the light. See, there's all the plastic pieces we need to get all that crap out of there. And the torque pins are supposed to be in here. Right there. There's only one left in there. And that's what's allowing this to do that. So this is usually pretty easy to pull apart. Just pulling this gear out. Okay. And then grab a hold of this gear. I mean, this is all just it's old grease. This probably never been done before. I don't think this has ever been, you know, this motor could have been removed like with the whole regulator and all that stuff, but I just don't think so. I think this just never been done. You know, this car's got 97,000 miles on it, so it has been driven enough, but not overdriven, and it was really well taken care of, in my opinion. And it has been very well taken care of since I've owned it 2.5 years ago. Anyways, yeah, so we're got to get these all this stuff cleaned up. You know, here's all the plastic stuff there. In there is the you know, there's the worm drive gear, you know, that gauges into these teeth and rotates around. And then, you know, this isn't supposed to move back and forth like this. We'll put this all together. I'll show you that after I get this all cleaned up. So, all right, got everything all cleaned up here. I got a whole bag full of these little torque pins. I bought them off eBay a long time ago, and $50 for like 100 of these. Do not know how many are left, because, you know, these same type of regulators, all that stuff were used in all through the 80s and even into the 90s. Anyhow, I know I did the same type of drilling to get to the bolts to replace a motor, except that motor was bad, wouldn't even turn at all on the 97 Ford Explorer. So the same type of deal we did drilling the holes to get to this, I've done on that 97 Explorer. I think it had a 95. It was either an F-150 or 250, or which didn't matter in 95. They're both pretty much the same pickup as far as the cab and door and all that kind of stuff goes. They use these same dang things. So anyhow, I'm going to try to do better with showing. Obviously, these torque pins will ride in there. This is where they go, just like that, when they're in here. When they're in here, they ride in this little divot right here, so they'll be pretty much like this. So you will line this little divot thing up and see how it fits over, but it wants to turn like this. Well, when that torque pin's in there, this won't do that. And I don't know really what their job is. I guess is to, you know, the sudden stop of the window or whatever, or just the power of it, you know. But these things just over time get eaten up. So basically, first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna add some more grease. I just like to take a dab and put right on this worm gear. Okay, do this. Smear it around in here a little bit. You don't want to just load it completely up with excuse me, with grease, because then it'll just be hard to work. These are pretty easy to line up, and it don't matter which way it goes, just goes. I don't know if it's a necessity or anything, I'm probably not, but I just find that if you put a little dab of grease in each of these corners here, that it just, I don't know, especially kind of giving a place for that torque pin to kind of stick to when you kind of go in with it. Now, this is the little bit tricky part, as you may have seen in some of the other videos I've done. And I've done 2 of these now without even, oh crap, using a vise. I had to use a vise a few times before on some others. So those newer ones even. I don't know if that has anything to do with it or not, but anyways, when you start these in here, we're going to start them in here, but we're going to put them in, and we're going to kind of at an angle like this. And then as you push, it's going to push it in like that. The reason you want to start it at an angle is because you want to start this part right here with this finger that's moving. You want it started into the edge, and then, but you want this part underneath of this lip right here. So, seeing if I can, and then as you push down, it's going to go like that and go in there. Now you can't just really put these all three in here and just expect to get this in there. That's just not going to work. So you want to kind of start it in. Okay. See how that's kind of at an angle there. Like that. There we go. It's like that. I mean, this is actually going pretty easy. All three of these so far have been this way. Now you can see that we cannot move this gear around, and that's how that needs to be. Then you definitely want to get a little bit more grease up here, all around here, just so that kind of has something to ride against. One other thing to mention too is one of them I did, I don't remember which one it was, might have been that F-150. There was a snap ring or something right here that you had to get off before you could pull that gear out. I don't know if I mentioned that before or not. Anyways, the grease on there, just because, I mean, this is rubber, but it's nice that it can ride like that. It usually stays pressed, you know, but that's going to go on there like that. And then last thing is we got this screw to start. Okay. You know, it was a bummer. This looks different than those other two motors I've done. And I don't know, I thought maybe for sure that this one had been replaced at some point or anything like that, and I guess it still could have. But it had a part number written right here in red, and then it had a date, and it said 12/7/78. The other two didn't have that, and I was able to wipe them off just like this time. I wiped it off with a rag, and it just, I was kind of mad, but it totally erased it. It used to say it right here, like bummed out. It's had the DF part number starting with DF or DAF, I don't know exactly, but Ford part number right there, and then it said 12/7/78 in red. Oh, I'm like, oh man. Anyways, we're gonna go ahead and install this. You know, we got this all clean, got good grease in it. We've already greased I guess you can call it a half moon gear, the gear that goes across here that this actually turned. We did that last year. So that's got some good grease on it, but you would want to have some grease like around here and stuff like that. If not, you know, put it on that gear and it'll just kind of all work its way around. But we're also going to, you know, if you check out the other video, show how we put that piece of plexiglass in here to take up some of that slop of that half moon gear, because that's what was making our clunking sound. Now this one, we're just going to go ahead and install this motor and see how the window works. It should be doing a lot better, and then we'll go from there as to what we're going to do as far as fixing that clunking noise and making it work a lot smoother. Whether we're going to do it the same way we did it to the other side, because I want it to work like the driver's side right now, so that's the goal. Okay, well, let's give this a try now. Oh, that is way better. Still got that little bit of clunking sound, which nowhere near as bad. Some of the inner workings in there. Looks like a lot of stuff going on, but it's really not as complicated as one thinks. I'll try to link to a video from a guy who had a Lincoln, a little bit newer than this one, but it's same concept, but he had a door cut on his old door, had it cut on the outside, so you can see all that linkage and stuff working like it's supposed to. Anyways, interesting. I just saw that the other day, but I'm gonna see if I can get a decent shot of kind of what's going on with, you know, what I can see, and elaborate a little bit on why we made the fix that we did before, because it's right when this vent window gets down to where the main window starts to come down, the big half moon gear kind of moves and wobbles, and I don't know if that's supposed to be, but that's when the clunking sound makes, and that's what we fixed and took the slack out with that piece of plexiglass in the other video. And if that's the way I decide to do that, I'll just do a little bit more in depth of how I made the piece of plexiglass and how thick I made it and this, that, and the other, because I didn't do that in that other video. So anyways, but if I come up with, you know, I might even investigate some other ideas that I might poke around at, you know, something different. Would be nice, maybe put some kind of a piece of plexiglass or some kind of a shim or something, you know, that could go behind the gear and keep it, you know, and keep it out of, you know, so we don't have that piece of plexiglass there, even though it's not really doing anything wrong. Just taking the slack out, keeping that gear from wobbling around. But I don't know. Anyhow, that's what I'm going to do, is investigate that. But let me see if I can get a good shot of this. Yeah, we're kind of watching, you know, obviously there's the motor, you know what that looks like now. And so watch that half moon gear as this comes back up. It's really hard to see from this angle. Let's see if we can get a different angle. Let's try this. See how that gear moves? So this is the vent window coming down. Now that's the main window coming down. So now I'm going to go back up. The main window is going to go up another inch, and then the vent window is going to start going. And every time it does that, this is back and forth with the vent window. You can see how that gear just, you know, that's what we wanted to take the slack out of. And that's what that plexiglass is doing. And that's why that one seems like it's working fairly decent. But this ain't bad though. It's really not. But I was maybe thinking of shoving, you know, or not shoving, but I mean putting some kind of a spacer or shim or something behind this gear, you know, because it's got to be pivoting on something in there, you know. I would assume that right about in this area right here, you know, that behind this deal, there's something, might be able to move this ground, maybe do a hole saw and do a bigger hole or something, see what's behind there. You know, I'm not opposed to doing something like that, you know, but I'd really just like to know what could be in there, you know, to keep that gear from flopping around so much, because I don't know how to fix that, or if that doesn't seem right. But like I said, I don't know how to fix it, what the proper way to fix it is. Nice to be able to talk to a Ford tech that worked in the, you know, mid to late 80s through the 90s at a Ford dealership or something. They probably, I don't know, but this thing having original parts and stuff, maybe this stuff didn't go that bad. I don't know. I do know that you know, they did change this in the town car for 81, that this remained solid, and then the window ran in through here, because I think these can separate from this triangle window at some points. But you know, this one we're not having that issue. You know, but in my other video about taking the door panel off, you know, I showed how to grease all these tracks and everything like that, and this is all, you know, greased up pretty good and everything. This stuff I did last year. Yeah, anyways, I'm going to do some investigating and we'll go from there, and I'll keep you in the loop. Okay, so what I did is I removed this ground right here, and I just went right in there because I knew that center of that deal was right here, and I went ahead and did this hole saw in here, and see if you can see this. It's kind of tough to see in the camera, but you know that obviously you can see that this is turning, so this is, you know, on the other side of the moon, the half moon or whatever. Let's see if I can hold this. But you can kind of see that, you know, that deal just ever so slightly wiggle this way. Obviously this part right here stationary, you know, and it's all riveted on here, so you'd have to remove all of that. You know, and I'm sure there's probably having to start over here, get all of this parts and stuff out on this side, and then, you know, work your way this way. I don't know how to do that. I'm not going to get into that right now. I'm just trying to decide whether or not I'm going to try something here, so shim the back of this, or do something different, or do the same thing I did on that driver's side. So contemplate that, and I'll be back with you. Okay, so what I'm going to be showing here in this part is, as I'm operating the window, I'm going to pry on this and push out on this, you know, into this little button thing or whatever you want to call it, as I operate the window, and you can hear the noticeable difference, because what I'm doing here is prying this back and getting all the slack, you know, that I can out of it, you know, because it's a little loose. So anyways, let me set you up. Okay, anyways, we got the window all the way up right now. So we're gonna roll it down and listen to the noise it makes now. Not bad, but let's hear it again. Way better than it was before we did the torque pins. Now I'm gonna apply a little bit of pressure on this deal and just take all the slack out of there, and now listen to it. Let me try that again. I think that was about the same. A little bit quieter, just a little bit. Very good, yeah. And then back to, there you go. See, louder. So, taking that slack, let me get this back up again. Taking that slack out of that half moon gear makes this thing run a lot quieter. So now I just gotta decide how I'm gonna do that. If I'm gonna do it the same way I did on that side, or if we're gonna come up with an easier way or a harder way that works better, or we're gonna, I don't know. Well, we're working late, but it's the only time I could find to get some maintenance and repairs done to the Lincoln. I'm gonna measure that hood from that point out here. It's 5.5 feet of hood with over 6 feet, almost 7, well, 7 feet would be right there. 6.5 feet. 6.5 feet from that point to the very end of the bumper. So no wonder this car arrives wherever I'm going before I do. Well, as of this video ending, I'm gonna leave it the way it is. You know, we got this thing, obviously it's more quieter with all the noise, you know, that noise dampening paper and the with the panel on and how thick it is and all that stuff. Anyways, let's have a listen here. I'll put you guys close to it. It's pretty good. Maybe that's supposed to do that. Maybe this is, I don't know, best it's gonna get. Let's do this. Keep you about as far away from this as I was holding there. And we'll do this left one here. This one's still just a smidge smoother, but it's just a little bit, but there's not much noticeable difference. Both working really good. I mean, way better than they were before. So definitely that torque pin is definitely, or those torque pins plural, definitely is the fix, you know, for that really making the clunking sound. That was definitely what it needed. That one's a little bit sharper of a clunk, but it doesn't do it every time. Like that one sounded better than, you know, with both these windows working pretty good. So anyways, for anybody that does not how long these freaking hoods are, it was from like that corner right there. I put the tape measure on the end of that corner, measured all the way out to the end of the bumper, and it's like 6.5 feet from this point clear over here. And I mean, you still got another 2 more feet before you get to where you're at. These are big old cars. I love it. Anyways, yeah, this one's got a little bit more information than the other one did, but I don't know. Hopefully I'm not sure exactly what. If I learn more about these systems and all that, I will update my channel as I learn. As of right now, kind of going to leave both of these as they are for a little while, and just see how it goes. But they are night and day better than what they used to be, just by changing the couple of dollars, changing those torque pins. Just that alone fixed that window way better. Yeah, anyways, thanks for watching.